Hey Thunder Bay, welcome to Giant Dreams Under Construction, the show that focuses on positive people working towards building their dreams. My name's Kateri Banning, I'm your host, and we have a returning guest, Bess LeGarde. You might remember her from a couple shows in the past seasons where she came in with her jingle dresses. She was one of the people from Fort William First Nation that went along with the city and did the powwow on the Great Wall of China. She was here speaking about that one time, and then the Winter Classic where you guys brought the Habs alumni last year.
Yeah.
Bess was here for that. Super involved in the community of Fort William First Nation, super involved in the powwow, regalia, culture, all that. Bess, since her last time on the show, has had quite the journey, and I'd like to let her share what happened. So after the show, you have two young boys, you're working at Fort William's band office, and what happened?
So it was about beginning of February, I started to feel really tired. And then about May time, I kept saying, I'm super tired. I can't even walk from my car to the house. Like, I felt like possibly I might have diabetes or something. Like, it was just strange. Like, my legs and my feet would go numb when I would exercise.
Which you do a lot too, because you're hockey, all that stuff.
Yeah, I play hockey and I exercise every day. I run. I couldn't lap Boulevard anymore, so I was like, okay, there's something wrong. I went in for a blood test with my doctor, which I had to request because all my organs sounded fine and everything sounded fine, but I was like, no, there's something wrong.
You knew. Yeah.
So right away, my test came back, and immediately he called me that night and said that your blood's looking like you have leukemia, and I need you to go to the emergency right away because I had a low blood count.
And that means that's
like the oxygen. So you have red blood cells, and they are what carries the oxygen to your organs. And mine, a normal one's supposed to be at 150, and mine was at 63.
Oh wow, okay.
So I had really low oxygen in my body. That's probably why I was tired and everything like that. So it was confirmed that I had acute myeloid leukemia. And
is that a common form or is that a rare form?
Well, there's different types of blood cancers, but it's a blood cancer that's definitely treatable, and sometimes people get stem cell transplants for it. So basically, it was I never left the hospital for 42 days.
And you have two young boys, in case some of our viewers don't remember. Yeah. You're very involved with your boys. You are a single mother.
Yeah.
So what?
It was awful. It was so hard. I immediately panicked when I got the phone call at home, and I remember every minute, every day that I had to go through this, and it's almost traumatizing to think about. But yeah, I immediately thought I was gonna die. First thought, I'm gonna die, and my kids are so young.
Very young. So they're 5 and 7? Or?
Yeah, they were 5 and 9 at the time.
Okay.
Now they're 6 and 10.
Okay.
But yeah, it was one thing was what is gonna happen with my kids? What am I gonna do? I'm in the hospital. I can't leave. First thing I had done was blood transplants, which I'm so grateful that people donate blood, and it saved my life. I had about my first round. I had 18 transfusions of blood and platelets.
Oh my! So so I know I've had them before where I got 5 bags. So what would that? So 18 would be 18 bags then? Or?
Basically, the cancer was not eating, but my body wasn't producing red blood cells because leukemia is in your bone marrow. So your bone marrow is in your bones, and that is where you get your blood from, your blood source. So immediately,
I know you left work and everybody was shocked. The whole community was really shocked because like you're so active, you're so out there, you're such a good person, you're very spiritual. It was kind of like,
It was
how the heck could this happen to Bess?
Huge shock, and the only way I can share with everybody, because I know that I was very like, I'm very like sociable, and I know a lot of people. I like, you know, I contact so many people. So like the one thing I did was I posted what happened to me, and it was like really crazy, because not only did it like bring people that actually experienced the same thing that I did to me,
Yeah.
but like it kind of helped share things, so I didn't have to explain my story 100 times.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard in my first month. Like I went through a lot of anxiety. I went through a lot of depression.
No poop. Like, yeah.
I was scared to even hear the C word.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want people to come in my room and talk about cancer at all, anybody's cancer.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, I had a lot of family die from cancer, and somebody coming in and explaining their story and their family story and how they died was super hard. And like,
Yeah.
I was like, I can't take this. Like,
Yeah.
don't. And there was like formed like so many people coming to visit me, but with leukemia, it's your immune system. So another thing I had to watch out for was germs and getting sick. So I had to really limit my, the people that were coming to see me, because when I did my first, like I think 5 days later from finding out I had cancer, I started my first round of chemo.
That's so. We're gonna stop right there and take a little break, and then we're gonna go into that next part.
Okay.
If you want to stop, or you choose to not want to, you know, discuss certain things, feel free to let me know. So we will be right back. And we're back with Giant Dreams Under Construction. This is our second segment for this show today with Bess LeGarde, past guest, sharing her story about what it was like to deal with the bad C word. So you were just saying that before the break, you know, you had to watch your immune system and things like that. Like, I know there were times that you were actually like quarantined, or what would they call it?
Yeah.
So continue on with that.
So my first round is called an injection round, and what they do is they put you under 7 days straight of chemotherapy. Like, so what they did was they put a Hickman line into my chest,
Okay.
and it was right into my main artery to my heart, and that is how they get the chemo to your body fastest, right? Because it's pumping out your heart. So basically, I did 7 days of injection chemo. I remember the first 4 days I was like, yeah, I don't feel nothing, I'm good, you know, I feel like good. And then day 4 hit me like a wall, and I got really sick. I went to the washroom and I felt like I was dying. Like I legit like was like, I'm dying, like my stomach is killing me, I'm throwing up, I was getting dizzy, lightheaded. I stood up and I immediately walked to my bed, and I fell, and just had enough time to push the button to the nurse, and she come there and like, I don't know, hit me with something.
Like hit you physically, or give you a shot of something?
Like gave me a shot of something in my IV. Sorry. Gave me a shot in my IV of, it's probably from anti-nausea medicine. I can't even remember, but it just like helped me. And I remember just after that, I was on nausea medicine for the whole time. I was so sick. And by day 7 came, and you know, I was like counting the days down every day in my room, like, okay, one more day of this, one more day, one more day. And like the day after the day after I was done, I felt so much better, like
but that's just the first 7 days of the 42 that you mentioned.
And then during that time, a week after first treatment, I had started losing my hair. And so I just got my sister to come in and shave it off. And
Which you posted, which,
Yeah.
you know, there was, I know that you had a huge reaction to. You actually shared, like being kind of kept alone and quarantined. You were still very much connected to the outside world. You did the video blogs. You kept all of us updated, and that was, a lot of us. That's what we're like. That's why I kind of asked you. I've never seen somebody so strong in that situation, and just me as a mom too, with my 2 children, I don't know how I would be. Like I look up to you for that, for being so brave. But what was like, when did you get to see your kids? Like, did you get to go home during that 42 days? Like what?
No, I never got to leave.
Not at all.
No, I had to stay there. They had to come visit me. And, you know, kids don't want to be in the hospital, so they come for an hour here and there. And then I don't want them to come up every day because I don't want them to get sick.
Or see some of the not pretty sides, right?
They definitely didn't come up during when I was getting chemo.
Okay.
Because it was really hard. I was sick. But being connected to social media and sharing my story was a way of coping, I think. It was a way of that helped me not only stay connected to feel normal, but it was definitely something that just kind of made me like share my story and try and stay positive, you know? It was really hard for me. I remember going through depression, and they, you know, like go on depression drugs, and that's just not me. And I'm just like, I would rather do counseling, and so that's what I did.
In the hospital, they have that service available. Okay.
Yeah, like the cancer ward and all the doctors and the nurses are amazing. Like they were one of my, like, obviously the main support system for me was the nurses, everyday nurses. And
you had you were kind of a goofball in there with them, like where you made friends and like
my sister works in the oncology ward, so and then not only that, like I just wanted to, like, kind of what inspired me was I started following people on Instagram that had the same type of cancer or were experiencing cancer at a young age, and that really helped me too, because then, you know, like you see them like enjoying what they, you know, making the most out of life and making the most out of, like, you're stuck in the hospital, but like you don't have to be sad or like. And
so how old are you? Because you are really young. You're younger than me, I know, and I don't feel old.
I was diagnosed at 29, and now I'm 30.
And most people don't even consider.
I had to spend my birthday in the hospital. So I did 4 total rounds of chemotherapy. So what would happen was I would be in there for a month, because it would take chemo to break your system down, and then you'd wait for your blood count to come up. So it would literally take 30 days for your counts to come up. And then I would get to go home for 2 weeks. So I remember the first time getting out of the hospital to go home, it was really overwhelming and scary.
Yeah.
It was scary to drive the first time. My body was super weak.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk from my room in the hospital to the end of the ward in the cancer center. There was a lot of things, like my body was, I lost all my leg muscles from hockey. I lost probably about 20 pounds in my first round, and that really took a lot out of me. And I remember just going home, and I'm like, I'm so scared. Like, I'm scared to be away from the nurses. I'm scared to be away from the medical attention.
You found, like, you came to rely on them, like the incident you described, where somebody was at least there to help. So were your boys, obviously your boys were home with you during those periods, right?
I wanted them home because I don't know what was gonna happen next. And for me, from what the doctors say, like, it's a 60% chance, you know, that it'll come back within 5 years. And sometimes if you have really bad genes, because it all depends on your genes, that it, you know, it could, there's always a chance that it will come back. Always. So.
Okay, so you, when they have this bell, which I didn't know was there. So like after your last treatment, I watched the video where you got to ring the bell, and I had to actually read around it to be like, what does this mean?
It was funny because like normally if you're doing chemo in like the cancer center, because there's a cancer center and then there's the oncology ward in the like where you're admitted. So in the cancer center, like everybody that finishes treatment in there, they get to ring the bell. And then I'm like, well, what about the ones that are in the cancer ward? Like, do they get to ring the bell? And like, so I just went up there and I'm like, I want to ring the bell.
But that was like when you were done though too.
So,
and then like you
that was like completely done. Done all my treatments. You know, the doctors gave me the go ahead that I'm okay, and for now, like right now, I'm good now.
Did you for whatever reason I could picture you almost like doing like a football touchdown dance or something, just because of how you are. So what was your reaction right then? Like where you're like, "Okay, Bess, you're clear." Like,
you know, every day that like I experienced something that made a step forward to the ending was I celebrated. Yeah. I celebrated my first round. I celebrated my second, my third, and my fourth, and I celebrated being able to walk around the hospital one lap. I celebrated everything. Like my birthday, like the girls like made me a cake and.
Aww, like the nurses.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Okay, so happy note to end this portion on. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back with Bess LeGarde's story. Thank you. And we're back with Giant Dreams Under Construction. My guest today is Bess LeGarde. So we just finished off the last segment, and you're talking about celebrating things, and like, you know, you're done now. You've kicked butt. Like I said, you had a video log you were constantly sharing. You had a couple different times where our women drummers and like people from our community came and visited you, and there's times that they couldn't even come in, but they did drumming sessions outside your hospital window. Like, how was that? That must have felt like did you feel the energy? Like, how was that? Because like even just watching it made me cry, and like I could feel the energy. Like,
the first time was when I got admitted. I couldn't leave my room, and all my friends, because I, you know, dance and stuff, they come. And it was pouring out, like raining, and everybody was like, well, we're gonna go sing for Bess to lift up her spirit, and it like made me cry. I was out my window waving. We did that, and then my last round, my line got infected, and I was really sick. I had an infection, and I literally thought like I was so weak that I wasn't gonna make it, and then I put it on Facebook, and people come out to support me. People that I never thought would, or I never was close to, but they were there, and they were people that loved me.
That you're a pretty big like source of strength, and you're a pretty integral part of, I would say for sure, like Fort William First Nation as a whole, but like especially with the youth and with our culture and the people who embrace our traditions. How did your spirituality, do you feel that there was another force at play? Like, do you believe that you having that mental strength and belief, like, did that help? Like, what was your biggest help throughout this?
It was, well, everybody in my life, you know, my kids' fathers, my mother was a big help, my mother-in-law, my father, and a lot of close friends really got me through everything. Like, and then thinking like with my spirituality part is, you know, I believe that we have control over ourselves. We have that energy that, you know, we can cleanse ourselves. you have to like always think that, you know, there's that higher power and that it's out of your control, and all you can do is take life day by day and know that, you know, whatever path you're meant to be on, you'll go down that way. And I look at this journey as like something that I think that maybe I was supposed to help people with, you know, being stronger, or know that like you can go through hard times and still like come out, like, you know,
and give your strength to others. Like you have that.
Yeah. And like, I put tobacco out all the time. I talk to the Creator. You know, if people speak to God or whatever they believe in, is, you know, I did that every single day. Every night I cried. I cried because I was so on the go person.
Yeah.
I missed my kids. I missed taking them to school. I missed waking up to them. I missed
yelling at them when they're scrapping over Legos or something.
Like everything. I really took for granted the things that I do on a daily basis.
Do you see now how, like you said, like you have a lot of love, and like you felt so much love from everybody. Do you feel that you're an inspiration? Like you said, that everybody's meant to go through things, you know, kind of sometimes it's crappy when you're like everything happens for a reason, but you say that you're, you know, there has to be a bigger reason. You help so many youth, you help our community, you organize huge events for our community, you're integral in the powwow planning and things like that. Like, do you feel like you got tossed this curveball because you have that strength to be able to, you know, help others with this? Like, you just sharing your story, period, it's like amazing. So I say thank you for that. But like, is that how you kind of go forward with this? Like,
yeah, like basically it's like I have bad days.
Yeah.
There's no joke about it. You know, like cancer isn't, you know, sunshines and rainbows. It's awful.
Frick
it's
no.
so awful. But I mean, it's like what you make the most out of it, and that's really what helped me. I hope that like I inspire people, and I hope that like people fighting cancer, you know, get through it, and I hope that we, you know, keep battling it, and you know, it's on a rise. And what is it, like our food? Is it, you know, the environment? You know, like what? I was completely healthy, you know. I was, you know, I played sports, and it's just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
You know, I just, I don't know.
Really, I know that you're just a memorable person, period. Like, I tell people about the Ninja Turtle regalia that you made for your son. I talk about how cool you are, and this is another facet of you that we got to see and that we were privileged to see. It sounds weird for me saying that, but like, you're amazing, and your spirit and just the way you carry yourself and how you discuss this horrible thing. I really, you're probably like one of the top, other than like Grandma Banning for me, like you're pretty much at the top of like strongest women I know. Do you have any community groups, like for anybody who's battling this, any suggestions of where they could turn to keep their morale or their spirits up during this?
Well, I honestly didn't, there's not much groups that I was able to attend while I was in treatment, because I'm in the hospital, and there's basically all there was you know, counseling offer. There was lots of programs, like tons of stuff. But post, I'm actually in the weekend program, and it's actually helping me rehabilitate like my bones, my muscles, with physiotherapists that run it from Lakehead University. So I'm in that, and I'm starting that next week. But since I've been
available to anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, donate blood. Get on the stem cell registry for, you know, cancer people that need stem cells. And it's as easy as swabbing your mouth. That's how you get tested. And if you're a candidate, you could save a life. Like, all you have to do, it's like donating blood, donating stem cells.
Well, I knew I needed you for the whole show. I knew I couldn't have another guest because I wanted you to share as much as possible. I love you. I love what you do. I can't wait to see you back, like dancing, and maybe they'll bring you back to the Great Wall to do your jig.
I did dance New Year's.
Yeah,
and it felt awesome.
Just thank you for everything, and just thank you for sharing your story. If anybody is interested in checking out maybe some of her story, I know she's on Facebook, I know she's on Instagram. You're very open about it. Thank you so much, Bess, for coming today. And thank you, Thunder Bay, for tuning in to Giant Dreams Under Construction.